lived at a lake with your kids and your husband. What was that lake called?
Indian Lake, near Vicksburg.
Did you go there every summer?
Yeah, went there every summer. I think those twins were about 6 years old when we first started going there with my first husband, and then Loyal dying so young and everything. Then I met Finn. We decided we'd still go out there, and Finn liked the lake too. So we still kept going out there, taught water skis and boats and things. Met very wonderful friends out there. In fact, they're still our friends.
Is it true that the twins used to try to surf on an ironing board?
Yes, that's right. My first husband made it was a small ironing board, an actual ironing board, and he took off the what do you call it, the foot of it, you know, and everything. Put roping up in the top of it, and covered it so you could stand up with canvas. And that was our first. In fact, it was the first surfboard on Indian Lake, because Indian Lake was known for sailboats. You never saw hardly any other kind of a motorboat on that lake when we first went out there. All you saw was sailboats, and they had sailboats every Sunday, all the races and everything. And so then we got that, and then pretty soon as the younger generation started coming out, there were more what we would call water skiing boats going out in the lake. And finally the sailboats went off the lake and the water skiing boats came out. And then we began to get water skis and, you know, things like that. Skiing.
Let's move on to the more recent days. You have what? Let's see, 7 grandchildren.
13 grandchildren, including Finn's.
Yes.
7 of my own and the rest are Finn's, and 9 great grandchildren.
It's quite a lot.
Yeah, it's quite a bunch.
Do you have any brothers or sisters?
Yes, I have 1 sister and 1 brother. My brother died 3-4 years ago. Lived in New York. In fact, he lived in New Canaan, Connecticut. And my sister lives here in Kalamazoo.
About your grandchildren, what do you feel about your grandchildren?
What do I feel? I feel I'm living for them, because I have a lot of fun with them. Yep,
Certainly.
Yep, we get together at Christmas time, at birthdays and holidays. I just have a wonderful time.
Do you see all your grandchildren quite often?
Yeah, so not as much as we can get together, get around with everybody. Every Christmas we used to have the whole gang here, all of the Moonies, which used to be Finn's grandchildren too. We always had every Christmas Eve. We used to get a great big roast beef dinner and have it in the basement with a Christmas tree. And the next day I had another 14 upstairs with a turkey dinner. And had all that with the rest of the family. So we always had a lot of promotion.
You recently had your 25th wedding anniversary with Lowell Finn Mooney. You want to tell us about that?
Oh, we had a wonderful time. And so he was on a walker, but that didn't make any difference to him. We just had our 25th wedding anniversary and went over to the Beacon Club I used to own. And they had, see how many people were there? Can you remember? 25 or 30 people over there for a lovely dinner and evening. Had loads of fun.
About a year and a half ago, you received your first pet for this house.
That's right, a year ago. A year ago last Christmas. His name is Rudy. It was a parakeet. And I taught him to do different things. Get on your finger. Talk to his cardinal girlfriends and boyfriends out of the patio door. Get on these swings. Bought him all kinds of toys. We'd sit on them and pick them away. His favorite thing was to get on top of his cage and throw off a ball or throw off anything that was on top of his cage. He would throw it on the floor if he didn't want anything on it. And all of a sudden, on January 16th, 1989, he didn't feel good that morning. He was at the bottom of the cage and became very ill and flew around his cage and dropped dead. And we found out after an autopsy that he had a brain hemorrhage in his brain, which is very uncommon, I guess, for parakeet.
Let's get on to what we're doing right now.
All
how have you liked doing helping me with this biography for my class?
I think it's fun. Yeah, well, I think it's very nice. I'm glad to help you. After all, I took care of you when you were just a tiny little kid, you know, for a long time. So you really seem just about like my own, but of course I'm a lot older, you know. So I didn't have anybody that young nowadays, but anything I can do to help my grandchildren or anybody else, I'm glad to do. What are you gonna do?
I don't actually recall why you took care of me. Could you refrain on that for me?
Why I do what?
Why you took care of me?
Why I took care of you? Because your mother was very ill. She had an embolism of the brain, and when you were born, and so she had to be sent to Canada for a brain operation. And you were only just a little tiny boy, just I think 10 days old. So your dad and she went to Canada for this operation, and I moved in your home and took care of you, and with the assistance of my sister who helped with Christy and your other grandmother, Marge Snow, we run your house until they came back, and I don't remember how long we were up there. Anyways, that's why you were just a little tiny kid, and I stayed 4 months with you up at your house. Oh, the nurses were real good to me that your mother, Jean, used to work with. They would come at night and stay and let me get a little sleep, and then in the daytime I'd get up and take care of you in the house. But the nurses were real handy. They'd come every night and we start to get a little sleep.
Evelyn married Grandboy's Ferris Moon. She's lived quite a life, and let's hope that she lives quite a bit more. Thank you.
Well, goodness sakes.
Hi, my name is Kristen, and this is my grandfather, Lowell F. Moody. And we're doing an interview on the Depression of the 1930s through 1940s, those years. And I'm just going to ask him a few questions. Okay, the first question is, when were you born, and whereabouts did you grow up?
I was born in July of 1908. I grew up in Kalamazoo, and mostly in the Millwood area. Lived on Pomeroy Avenue until I was married.
Oh, okay. About how old were you during the Depression?
21.
21. Okay. What were you doing during that time, and how much did you get paid?
Well, I was driving a oil truck and selling and delivering fuel oil to houses and small factories. And working on a salary, 6 days a week. I got $35 a week.
Oh, so was that a pretty good?
That was fairly reasonable, good pay, yes.
Okay. What was your place in the family? Like, were you married then, or did you have kids or anything?
Yes, I was married and had one daughter.
Okay. You had been married about 3 years then, probably?
Yes, about 3 years.
Okay. What did you think of FDR at that time?
Well, he had a lot of good ideas, and he done quite a lot for this country, which was in bad shape when he took over. And he had a lot of good programs to try to put people to work and making enough money to make a living. So he had pretty good ideas.
So
Some people were too much in favor of his spending the money he did, but they had to take some government money to get the depression back to work, give a lot of jobs to people.
Oh, so he was a pretty good president?
Yes, he was good enough that the people elected him for 3 4-year terms.
Okay. Did you know much about the bank holiday? What was it all about?
Well, this was back in 1929, September 1929, and people at that time didn't have their money insured in the banks like they do today, so everybody was afraid they'd lose what money they had in the bank, so they all tried to get down and draw it out. So to save the bank from going bankrupt, they just closed the banks until they got things straightened around.
Oh. Okay. I understand a lot of people were raising and saving food during the Depression. Why was that?
Well, you had to save a lot of food, make it go around. At that time, your money didn't go too far, so a lot of people had what they call victory gardens, and everybody that could take a little piece of land, or they had gardens out in the countries or on vacant lots, put it into what they call the victory garden to raise vegetables, things like that that they couldn't afford to buy.
Mm-hmm.
So at that time, we call them victory gardens.
Okay. Did you think that it was an awful time to be alive during those years?
No, I wouldn't say it's ever an awful time to be alive. A lot of things could be, a lot of hardships to get through. You gotta struggle sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
but gives you a lot of good experience.
Mm-hmm.
And when you survive and live those things, why, it's been a pretty good lesson.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been good for, it was good for a lot of people.
Did you have a lot of hardships during those years?
Well, I had a job. That was the most important part of it, as far as hardships was concerned. In fact, I worked every day,
Mm-hmm.
and I got through, although didn't make too much money at that time, but I had enough to keep my family, and I had a steady job.
Mm-hmm.
That's about the only way you can keep going.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Do you remember the eyes and ears of the world, like the newsreels and stuff in the movie theaters and stuff?
Oh yes, very well. It's something different than we have today, where you can turn on TV and get the news.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the news at that time was either the newspapers, or if you went to a theater, part of the program was the newsreels they had on.
Mm-hmm.
And it was called the Eyes and Ears of the World. It showed you the local, national, and international news. So you could keep up with the things going on all around the world.
Oh, let's see. Okay. What did you know about the Hindenburg?
Well, Hindenburg was a big ship that flew before they had too many of these airplanes to carry a lot of passengers, and there were 90-some people on this plane, and it blew up, caught on fire, and the gases on it just exploded, and there was around 35 people that lost their lives on it. It was quite a news story at that time, because the number of people they had on there was quite a a lot of people to be flying in the air at that time.
Mhm. Okay. Did the name Hitler have a lot of attention? Did a lot of people think of it a bit back then?
Well, Hitler was a man that was the ruler of Germany,
Mhm.
and he did do quite a bit for the Germans. People liked him over there, and he thought that he was quite a ruler. So, kinda got the big head, thought he'd, well, rule the world.
Mhm.
So, he started out by telling everybody how to live, how to do, how to run their countries, and he was very much against the Jewish people.
Oh.
And he wanted to do away with a lot of Jews. He had quite a lot of the Jews that he burnt fires, done away with them. Then he went, expanded into other countries of Europe, and for a while there he made quite a lot of success.
Mhm.
And then with his intentions of licking the world, countries like Britain, England, and the United States joined together to fight him, and they finally conquered him in the war. So, been quite a discussion of what happened to him. Nobody seems to know whether he killed himself or just what happened. He wanted to be a man to rule the whole world, and he just got too big.
Mhm.
So finally he was destroyed.
Sounds like a very exciting time in your life, huh?
But
Very exciting part in your life.
yes, it was. Oh, yeah.
Well, thank you for joining me.
Okay.
Turn it off, please.